guys, I'm coming to you today from the guinea pig room with basically everything that you need to know about hay when it comes to guinea pigs. So this is essentially a 101 on hay. I just wanted to say also that I will put timestamps in the description below. If you're looking for anything particular that I'm talking about, it'll be down there. But the main things that I'm going to talk about is just an overview of hay in general, the types of hay that you can feed to guinea pigs, and some other alternatives. Then we're going to go into a little bit about hay versus straw and the differences between the two. What you should be looking out for when you're buying hay, the most affordable ways to buy hay, how you can store hay, how you can feed it, all of those exciting things. And then at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about grass and the benefits of introducing grass into your guinea pig's diet. This is the first of a 3-part series I'm going to do. So the first video we're talking about hay and grass. The second video will be about fruits and vegetables, and then the third will be about like treats and forage and stuff like that. The way I want to start each of these is, just in case you don't see all of them, is basically just give you an overview of what you should be feeding your guinea pig, in case this is the only video you see of mine. So when it comes to a guinea pig's diet, you should be feeding them hay. That hay should be unlimited, so they should have it available to them at all times, and it should be a good quality hay, which we'll go into in this video. They should also obviously have water all the time. They should be getting 1/8 of a cup of pellets per guinea pig per day. And when it comes to vegetables, they should be getting a cup of vegetables each pig a day. I did want to say with pellets also, is pellets are optional. You don't have to feed pellets. They are a really good base source of like vitamins, minerals and stuff like that for your guinea pigs, and it helps to fill in anything that they may be missing out in their general diet. Excuse me. Michigan and Idaho are fighting in a box, so if you can hear thumping around, that's what's going on. I have a list down here of like what I wanted to talk about, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. I'm also not wearing my glasses, so if it takes me a little bit to read it, I'm sorry, but I'm sure I can just cut that out. So basically, firstly, I just wanted to say that hay, if you don't already know, is the most important part of a guinea pig's diet. And the reason that it is one, it helps with their digestive system, it keeps things moving, and it's also really crucial for their teeth. So it keeps their teeth, helps to keep their teeth short, which is good for them, because if they get too long of a teeth, then they can have a lot of issues. So basically, there are a couple of varieties of hay that are good to feed guinea pigs, and those varieties are, you've got wheaten, you've got bluegrass, meadow, oaten, timothy, and besides like all the things I've already said, hay is a really good source of fibre. It has a heap of nutrients in it that are really important in a guinea pig's diet. So that's essentially why we feed hay, and it is something that should be unlimited, something that they have in their cage available to them all the time. Hi, what are you doing? Hi, come say hi to me. Hi. Okay, so I wanted to talk briefly about another type of hay that you can give. It's a little bit different to traditional grass hays like the ones that I've mentioned, and I'll put them on the screen again for you now. And that's Lucerne. So Lucerne, as it's known in Australia, in other countries it's known as Alfalfa, is an option as well. I will say for most guinea pigs it is not a good option, and the reason for that is it's really high in calcium and it's really high in protein. So if you're giving a guinea pig a diet that's really high in calcium, it can lead to a couple of health issues. First, you'll start noticing white urine or white particles in their urine. That is in most cases normal. If guinea pigs have more calcium than they need, or they can digest, they'll expel any excess calcium into their urine, and you'll see those white patches. If you start seeing like gritty patches or things like that, then that can be a sign of a serious health concern. And the main thing that like a diet too high in calcium can cause is bladder stones. They can be really painful for your pets, really expensive for you to have to keep going back to the vet and getting it treated. So that's one reason why we don't feed those sorts of hays. Also, if you have feeding too high in protein, which Lucerne alfalfa hay is, that can lead to like a change in the bacteria in the digestive system, and basically it can have a whole host of other health issues that can affect them. So if you haven't noticed, If you are a hay connoisseur, you will have noticed that I feed Lucerne hay, and that's because there are a couple of exceptions to the rule. So the main exceptions to the rule of never feeding Lucerne is if your guinea pig is under 6 months old, or if you have a pregnant or lactating guinea pig. The reason I feed Lucerne is because my guinea pigs, well, they're just about to turn 6 months old, but while I've been feeding, they've been under 6 months old. And the reason that that is good for them, and I would highly recommend that if you have guinea pigs that are under 6 months old, that you're feeding either Lucerne or Alfalfa hay, is because that extra calcium in their diet is really essential to their growth and development. And there have been studies that have shown that if guinea pigs earlier in their life have a lack of calcium in their diet, that can cause health issues in the future, and it can cause a lot of teeth issues as well in the future from some of the things that I've read. If I can find any of them again, I'll link them below. So basically with Lucerne, so you feed until they're about 6 months old, and then what you do is you start introducing another hay. So we're about to start introducing oaten because it's on the good list and it's readily available where we are. So when you start introducing another type of hay, what you do is you do it slowly. So I will slowly start introducing the oaten into the Lucerne hay and gradually decrease the Lucerne that I'm feeding, increase the oaten until it's 100% oaten. So that is about to happen in the next couple of weeks because the boys are about to hit 6 months old. So basically, I wanted to quickly talk about the difference between hay and straw. And the reason that I want to talk about this is people post online a lot of photos of their cages, and I can see it, and again, look, it just makes me nervous, and I just want the information out there. So basically there is a difference between hay and straw. So hay essentially is a pale gold to a green colour. It's really sweet smelling and it is pliable. With hay also, I'm just getting some so I can show you. When you see hay, so this is hay, it's a very green, Lucerne generally is. You can see that they have the leaves on it, and sometimes they also have seed heads on them. So if they have the leaves and the seed heads on them, then this is hay. It's very pliable, so I can move it around without it like snapping. If it was to be straw, there would be no leaves and no seed heads on it. So it would look like this, but it would be like a dark gold to brown colour. And basically as soon as you like bend it, it would snap straight away. The thing that you need to know is the colour of a hay, and this depends on variety, but generally the colour of a hay denotes its nutritional value. So the greener it is, the more nutritional value it's going to have. And then when it becomes straw and it hasn't got the leaves, it hasn't got the seed pods, and it's that like dark golden to brown colour, then it basically has little to no nutritional value. It is also quite dangerous because if it's like sharp and hard and not pliable, then you can get things like hay poke in your guinea pig's eye and stuff like that, but that's a topic for another day. Basically, that's just what I wanted to say. If you want a good example of straw, a lot of people put straw in their gardens, so you can have a look for that, or scarecrows, they're made from straw. But basically, that's not something that you should be feeding your guinea pigs. It's not hay. That's just as simple as it is. So I wanted to talk also a little bit about buying hay, and how you can buy hay, and I have like the prices and quantity stuff written down, so I'm just going to look at it while I tell you. But basically there are different options for buying hay. The most common option, and what most people do, is they either buy it online or they buy it from a pet store. So in Australia, if you're looking for about a 1 kilo bag of Timothy hay is $30, and then oaten, which never looks as green when it's from a pet store, is about $15, but that's for 2 kilos. So obviously if you're a budget conscious person, this isn't the best idea. For us with 3 boy guinea pigs, quite young, 1 kilo of hay would last me just about a week. Sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on how much they're eating. Now, for me, and like for most people, the most money conscious way to do it is to buy a bale of hay. And I know it's kind of overwhelming because like, where do you put a bale of hay? They're not very small. But if you think about it this way, a bale of hay is anywhere between like $16 and $20. And I bought a bale of hay about just over 6 months ago, and I'm halfway through it. So you can imagine like $20 for 6 months, potentially 12 months worth of hay, as opposed to $20 for a week's worth of hay. It's really a no-brainer. So obviously hay bales are the better option. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you would store a bale, because it's sort of a little daunting thing if you don't know anything about it. But there are some really important things you need to keep in mind when you're storing a bale. So firstly, I just don't want to get it wrong, so I'm going to look here to what I've written down. But when you are storing a bale of hay, you want to make sure that it's in a dark and cool place, that there is like no moisture or anything like that, because if there is moisture in the environment, that can create mold, and then the hay is obviously inedible. Obviously, if it gets wet, then it can also produce mold, and then it becomes inedible. You want to make sure your bale isn't accessible at all to any like rodents or insects or anything like that, because they can get into the hay and they can like put feces and stuff on it, which will ruin it for your guinea pigs. They don't want to catch the germs that mice urine carries, essentially. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, you want to check before you feed it that it hasn't developed any mold and you haven't got any like hidden surprises inside it. So just break it up a little bit. It's always really important. And what I'll do as well is, there's a really good thing on the Guinea Pigs Australia website that talks about the pros and cons of different ways to store a bale. So when I was initially looking for a bale, I posted on some guinea pig pages on Facebook and asked how other people, sorry, I've got to stop playing with this hay. I asked how other people store their hay, and I got a couple of different options. So people were saying that they store them in containers, they store them in things like IKEA bags. There was people who had bought like wheelie bins from Bunnings and were storing the hay in the wheelie bin, because apparently like a medium-sized wheelie bin fits a bale of hay perfectly. People were using like grain tubs and stuff like that. Somebody did send me a link, and if I can find it, I'll link it below. But essentially it was like a horse bale bag. So it's just like a plastic bag that unzips around the corners, and it's got a little handle. So essentially you'd go to wherever you're getting it from, a produce store, buy the bale, you just put the bag over it, flip the bale over, zip it up, and then you hold it by the handle. If you've ever transported hay, you will know it gets everywhere, so you don't want to be putting it in your car and stuff like that, because it will make like a right old mess. So yeah, if I can find it, I'll link that below. And oh, that's what I was going to say, on the Guinea Pigs Australia website there is a list of the pros and cons of storing. So it says like, if you store it in a container, these are the benefits of storing it that way and the disadvantages of storing it that way. And it goes through a couple of different storage ways so that you can make the best informed decision on the way that you want to do it. I am currently storing them in tubs. I am going to buy the hay bag, so obviously I need to find the link for myself. But yeah, I need to do that because I need to get that before I go and take the Oden, because I have a new car and I do not want hay inside it, I can tell you that now. I wanted to talk a little bit about serving hay, and this is purely because I see this a lot online and it's really disconcerting. So I just wanted to give you a few good options of the way that you can serve your hay. So you've seen in my other videos before, it's not anywhere near me so I can't grab it, but you can get hay carts, so it looks like a little wagon cart, and you can put the hay inside of that. I will say, I'm sorry, my husband's mowing the lawn and it's really loud, so I hope you can still hear me over that and that's not too distracting. So the disadvantage of a hay cart is, I found with my guinea pigs, is Oregon, yes you Oregon, always would jump inside it, and then it would get soiled and stuff like that. So like, it's a good idea, but then I had to change it out more regularly. You can use, which I've shown in other videos before, I think there's a couple in my top 4 Australian flea stores video, which I'll link now. Hay bags, and they're really good. Also, Oregon, with the hay bags, he was like going inside them and I'd be looking for him everywhere and I'd be like, where is he? And he was inside the hay bag, so I got rid of that. You can also, which is what we're doing at the moment, is just have like a pile of hay, and they seem to really like that. I was talking to one of our subscribers the other day about the corner I've got there. I've got like grids, so I'm thinking of maybe putting the hay in there, but we'll see. It's definitely still thinking about it. So anyway, the reason and the thing that I see online a lot is hay balls, and that's just what I really quickly wanted to talk about is hay balls. Hay balls, if you don't know, are really, really dangerous. I don't know why they sell them, but like I said in one of my other videos, it's marketing. It's essentially just like really bad like really good marketing that makes you buy things that aren't good for you and that you don't need. But hay balls are really dangerous. If you have the heart, which you probably don't, you can Google it, but I'll just warn you, like, it's not nice. But guinea pigs essentially can get their heads stuck in hay balls and then not be able to get out. Or like if you've got younger guinea pigs, they can get completely inside the hay ball and then not be able to get out. So if you're thinking like, if you're leaving your guinea pigs and going to like work or school for the day and you're coming back like 8 hours later and they've been stuck in the hay ball for 8 hours, like, it's just an unnecessary risk to take. So I'm really against hay balls. I know a lot of guinea pig owners are really against hay balls, but if you have one and you're using one, I highly suggest that you've researched a little bit to find out like what's wrong with it. Research, just Google basically risks or issues with hay balls and you'll find a heap of photos on it. So lastly, I just wanted to talk a little bit about grass. So I think the most important thing to note and why I bring it up is I see this a lot online, and I just want you to know that grass is never a substitute for hay. The one good thing about hay, like we said earlier, is hay is really good for wearing down the teeth. And that's because it's hard. Grass isn't hard, it's not going to have any effect on the teeth, and it does different things for guinea pigs than hay does. It's got different minerals and stuff like that, and they really just need hay. Grass is nice, but it's a treat, it's not a substitute for hay. So grass is really good at promoting a healthy GI in the guinea pig's stomach. It's really high in fibre and it's also high in vitamin C. And as most guinea pig owners know, vitamin C is really important for your guinea pigs. Like humans, they don't produce it naturally. So any way that you can get it into their diet is really good. So grass is a really good source of vitamin C. Okay, so when you are looking for grass, there's a couple of things you want to keep in mind. You want to know where the grass is coming from and what's been around the grass. So you obviously don't want to be feeding them grass that has like any chemicals, any herbicides, pesticides, or anything that have been sprayed on it or around the area. You don't want to be picking grass from roadsides because like car exhaust fumes can basically taint the grass. You also definitely don't want to be giving grass that's been cut by a lawnmower. So essentially, besides the fact that lawnmowers have like oil and grease and stuff like that on them, which is not healthy obviously, when a lawnmower cuts, it reaches a really high heat. When it cuts the grass, this then causes it to start a fermentation process, and that is really not healthy at all. You don't want to give your guinea pigs fermented food, fermented grass, anything. So if you are feeding grass, you want to make sure it's from a cleaner area and you want to make sure that it has been hand cut. So yeah, they're just some really important things. Oh, and also if you haven't fed grass before, it's really important to gradually introduce it into their diet so they don't get an upset stomach or anything like that, just like you would with any other fruits or vegetables. But that is pretty much it from us, guys. So I hope that gave you a little bit more information about hay. If you have any questions, always feel free to leave them below. And